Here are the video solutions for Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Level 2. This is section A, which is the non-calculator section, and this is from practice set 2. So let's take a look at question number 1. Work out 700 minus 7 squared. So this question is just checking our understanding of BIDMAS. We don't have any brackets, but we do have indices, 7 squared. Now 7 squared, that means 7 times by 7, which is 49. So the question is simply 700 take away 49. So the answer is 651. Moving on to part B, write down the mode. Well, we just need to remember that the mode is the most common value. So let's take a look. How many times does 29 appear? It appears once, twice. 31 appears twice as well. 46 only appears once, so that can't be the mode. 43 appears 3 times, so 43 is currently in the lead. And the 3 remaining numbers is only one of each, so therefore the mode is 43. Right, let's move on to question number 2. So Ola will run from her house to a local park and back to her house. So this is the route she takes. So it's 1 1/4 miles plus 2 3/8 miles. So what we can do here is, well, there's two ways we could do this. I would normally tell people to turn any mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 1 1/4, how many quarters is that? Well, that's 1 times 4 plus 1. 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So that is 5 quarters. And 2 3/8, how many eighths is that? Well, it's going to be 2 times 8 plus 3. 2 8s are 16, 17, 18, 19. So the question is now, what is 5 quarters plus 19 eighths? But we can't add fourths and eighths because these numbers on the bottom are different. So what we need to do is fiddle the fractions so that they have the same numbers on the bottom. Now, in this case, we only need to fiddle one of the fractions, and I'll show you why. So we're going to look at the fraction that's got the larger number on the bottom, so that is 8, and we're going to go through the 8 times table until we find the first number that can be divided by 4. So the first number in the 8 times table is 8. Oh, and 8 can be divided by 4. So that means, this is good news because it means we don't need to change 19 eighths. All I need to do is to change 5 quarters into a certain number of eighths. Now, to turn a 4 into an 8, we're doubling it, so we need to double the top as well. So 5 times 2 is 10. So the question is now 10 eighths plus 19 eighths. 10 plus 19 is 29. So as an improper fraction, the answer is 29 eighths. Now, we don't usually give answers as improper fractions. We normally give them as mixed numbers. So how many eighths go into 29? Remember that the line of a fraction means divide. So what is 29 divided by 8? How many eighths go into 29? 8, 16, 24. So that is 3 eighths. And that comes to 24. 29 take away 24 is 5. So there is a remainder of 5, so 5 eighths. So the answer is 3 5 eighths of a mile. Question number 3, Saima is making a filling for a cake. She mixes these ingredients in the ratio of 4 to 1 to 16. So that is jam to sugar to soft cheese, and that is a ratio of 4 to 1 to 16. She uses 32 ounces of soft cheese. So what I'm thinking at this moment, without even reading ahead as to what the question is asking, I can see that 32 is double 16. So therefore, if she's using 32 ounces of soft cheese, she will need 2 ounces of sugar and 8 ounces of jam. So we're just doubling all of these numbers. So how many grams of jam does Saima need? Well, she needs 8 ounces. So what is that in grams? Well, if 1 ounce is 28.3 grams, then 8 ounces is going to be 28.3 times 8. So what is 28.3 times by 8? So I'm just going to ignore the decimal point for now. 8 3s are 8, 16, 24, carry the 2. 8 8s are 64, 65, 66, carry the 6. 2 8s are 16, plus 6 is 22. So if 283 multiplied by 8 is 2264, then 28.3 multiplied by 8. The question has 1 decimal place, so therefore we need 1 decimal place in our answer. So if I put the decimal point before the 4, I've now got the correct answer. So the answer is 226.4 grams. And use estimation to show a check of your answer. Well, we were trying to calculate 8 multiplied by 28.3. And of course, multiplying by decimals can be quite tricky, so it's a good idea to use estimation to check that you're not times 10 or times 100 out. Let's just 28.3, that is approximately 30. So what is 8 times 30? Well, 8 times 3, 8, 16, 24, and put the 0 in. So 240 is 8 times 30, and we got an answer of 226.4, which isn't a million miles away, so we know we've got the question right. Okay, and on to question number 4. Jack's a jeweller. He makes a pendant in the shape of a triangular prism as shown in the diagram. Jack makes the pendant from solid gold. He uses the formula V equals TL, where T is the area of this triangular face and L is the length in centimetres. And he knows that mass is density times volume. The density of gold is 9 grams per cubic centimetre. The cost of 1 gram of gold is £40. Jack sells the pendant for £382 more than the total cost of the gold needed to make the pendant. So how much does Jack sell the pendant for? So in order to work out the selling price, we need to add 382 onto the total cost needed to make the pendant. Okay, so we've got this formula, mass is density times by the volume. Now, we've been given a formula for the volume and we've been given the density. So given that we have the density and I can work out the volume, then it's probably a good idea that we calculate the mass. So let's work out, first of all, the volume of this prism. If you're not sure what you're doing, then just look at this. They've given you the formula, V equals TL, so it's probably a good idea to use that. So the volume is the area of the triangular face. Now the area of a triangle is base times by the height divided by 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So that is 1.5 square centimetres because this is an area, and we're multiplying that by 4. So what is 1.5 multiplied by 4? Well, 1.5 multiplied by 2, in other words doubled, is 3. So if I double that again, the volume is 6 cubic centimetres. Okay, so we're slowly getting there. It's quite a tricky question. So we know that the mass is the density multiplied by the volume. So the volume is 6 and the density is 19. So what is the mass? 19 multiplied by 6. 9 6s are 54. 4 carry the 5. 1 times 6 is 6 plus 5 is 11. So that is 114 grams. So the mass is 114 grams. Now we know that the cost of a gram of gold is £40. So therefore, what is the cost of 114 grams? Well, that's going to be 114 multiplied by 40. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply 114 by 4 and then just stick a 0 on the end. 4 4s are 16, 6 carry 1. 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 1 times 4 is 4. So 456, but then I'm going to put the 0 back in. So the cost to buy the gold is £4,560. Now Jack sells it for £382 more. So the selling price is going to be £4,560 plus the 382. So 0 plus 2 is 2, 6 plus 8 is 14, 4 carry 1, 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 1 is 9, 4 plus nothing is 4. So the total that he sells it for is £4,942. Here are the video solutions for Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Practice Set 2. This is level 2, this is section B, which is the calculator section. So let's take a look at the first question. Luke plays a computer game where he manages a city. He buys 2 buildings. Luke receives 135 coins every 8 hours from building A and 36 coins every 15 minutes from building B. Luke thinks he receives a total of 4,000 coins in 24 hours from these buildings. Is Luke correct? Well, let's work out how much he gets in 24 hours. So we know that from building A, so let's just do A first. it's 135 for every 8 hours. So how much does he get in 24 hours? Well, 24 is 3 times greater than 8, so he will receive 3 times more than 135 coins, and 135 times 3 is 405. So that's what he gets from A. For B, he gets 36 coins for 15 minutes. So I know that 15 minutes is quarter of an hour, so in 1 hour that is going to be, well, 1 hour is 4 times more than 15 minutes, so that will be 4 times more than 36, and 36 multiplied by 4 is 144, so per hour he gets 144 coins, so in 24 hours he will get 24 times 144, and 24 times 144 comes to a total of 3,456, so that's what he gets for B. So all we need to do now is add 3,456 and 405, and we get a total of 3,861. So if we go back to the question, Luke thinks he receives a total of 4,000 coins in 24 hours. Luke is not correct. He gets 3,861, so no, he is not correct. Let's move on to question number 2 now. So the scatter diagram shows information about the age and height of some trees. We want to describe the relationship shown in the diagram. Well, probably I would work at question A after I've done question B, which is once I've drawn a line of best fit. Now, a line of best fit is a straight line that goes through the middle of the dots, trying to keep the dots as close to the line as possible. So something like that. Maybe I should have drawn it a little bit lower. It's quite hard when you're not using a pencil and ruler. And we can see that this line is going up, so that tells us that there is positive correlation. In fact, as the dots are very, very close to the line, we could even say that it's strong positive correlation. So we've drawn the line of best fit, which is part B, and we want to estimate the age of a tree that's got a height of 625 centimetres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the graph and find 625. So we're going up in 25s here. No, we're not. We're going up in 50s. 600, 650, 700, 750, 800. So if this is 600 and this is 650, then 625 is halfway between these two lines. So I'm just going to go across until I hit the graph, which is about here, and just take a reading down. It's very hard to be like precisely accurate, especially when you've drawn a slightly dodgy line of best fit as I have. So that is 20, 21, 22. So that is 22 years. Okay, moving on to question number 3. So the tree diagram shows the probability of selecting a car owner by their age and the type of car they have. So we need to complete the probability tree. So if the probability that they're under 30 is 0.3, then the probability that they're over 30 is 1 take away 0.3, so that is 0.7. If the probability that they choose electric is 0.15, then the probability for the opposite, which is petrol, is 1 take away 0.15, and that is 0.85. So we have completed the probability tree. So a person is chosen at random. What's the probability that they're under 30 and have an electric car? So under 30 is 0.3, electric is 0.4. So what we do is we multiply these probabilities together, 0.3 multiplied by 0.4, and the answer is 0.12. So make sure you multiplying the probabilities and not adding them there. So question number 4, Sasha is the manager at a factory. Last weekend, 15 employees assembled 390 identical wardrobes. Sasha wants 1,200 of these wardrobes to be assembled next weekend. So how many employees must she need? Okay, so we know that 15 employees, I'll put E for employees, equals 390 wardrobes. And we want 1,200 wardrobes. So what we need to do is work out how many times greater 1,200 is than 390. Well, it's not very obvious. So what we need to do is divide 1,200 by 390. And 1200 divided by 390 is 3.0769. So 1200 is 3.0769 times greater than 390. So if we've got just over 3 times more wardrobes, we will need just over 3 times more employees. So what we need to do is multiply 15 by this number, which we've probably still got stored on our calculator, and 15 multiplied by 3.0769 is 46.1. Now 46.1 is closer to 46 than 47, but if we only have 46, that will just not be enough employees, so we need to round it up to 47 in this occasion. So the answer is 47 employees. Let's take a look at question number 5. So Vera is a shop manager. She's got this information about the income in her shop for 8 weeks this year. Now last year for the same 8 weeks, the median was 49,300, and we want to work out the percentage decrease in the median from last year to this year. Now the problem is we don't know the median of this data set, so we're going to have to work that out. So to work out the median, all we need to do is put these values in ascending order. So 19.4, 39.8, 42.3, 42.5, 45.1, 47.9, 52.4, and 53.5. Now to find the median, I'm going to chop one off the left and the right. I'm going to do the same again, and I'm going to do the same again. Now I was hoping to isolate one in the middle, but I've got 2 in the middle, and that is expected because we're dealing with an even number of values. It's only when you have an odd number of values that you get 1 in the middle. So we just need to work out what the halfway point is between 42.5 and 45.1, but it's not very obvious. So what we need to do is add the 2 numbers together and divide by 2, and we'll get a median of 43.8. Now notice that these are in thousands of pounds, so if we want to have a number that resembles the figure for last year, what I'm going to do is just multiply this number by 1,000, and 43.8 multiplied by 1,000 is 43,800. So we can see it has fallen from 49,300 to 43,800. Now what is that as a percentage decrease? Well, to calculate a percentage increase or decrease, it's the difference between the 2 values divided by the original value multiplied by 100. So what is the difference? It's 49,300 take away 43,800, so that is a difference of £5,500. So the percentage decrease is 5,500 divided by, well, we're calculating a percentage decrease, so we need to work out what it has decreased from, so that's going to be the higher value, so 49,300 multiplied by 100, and that comes to 11.15618, and I believe the question says, yes, 2 decimal places, so we need to look at the value of the 3rd decimal place. Anything after that we can completely ignore. If this number is 5 or more, then the column to the left will move up by 1. Well, 6 is greater than 5, so the column to the left, which is a 5, will move up by 1, so that will turn into 11.16%. Part B is slightly unusual. We need to show a check for our calculation for the median. Well, we worked out that the median was 43.8, and it fell between 2 values. So what I'm going to do is multiply this number by 2. Remember, we divided our total by 2 to get 43.8. 43.8 multiplied by 2 is 87.6. And the 2 values that we were looking at were 42.5 and 45.1. So 87.6 needs to equal the sum of 42.5 and 45.1. And luckily 42.5 plus 45.1 does indeed equal 87.6, so we know we have the calculation for the median spot on. Okay, moving on to question 6. So Carlos is investing £4,500 for 3 years, and the interest rate is 1.5% per year. So we're going to be increasing this amount by 1.5% 3 times. So what is the percentage multiplier for a 1.5% increase? Well, the normal multiplier would be 1.5 divided by 100, which is 0.015. But to increase by 1.5%, we need to add 1 to this figure here. So our multiplier is 1.015. That's the multiplier we're using. So what we need to do is take the starting amount, 4,500, and multiply it by 1.015 3 times. Or if you like, we can type it a bit quicker into our calculator. 4,500 multiplied by 1.015 cubed, and that comes to a total of £4,705.55p, and that is less than £4,750. So is Carlos correct? No, because this is less than 4,750. Moving on to question number 7. Turning a percentage into a decimal is relatively straightforward. It's just a case of remembering that you divide by 100, and now this should be really easy since we can use a calculator. 21.9 divided by 100, which comes to 0.219. For part B, we're trying to work out 37% of this figure here. So the multiplier for 37% is 0.37. This number here divided by 100, that's how you get there. And we're multiplying that by the 4618.57, and we get an answer which is 1708.8709, but we want to give the answer to 1 decimal place, so we're interested in the second decimal place. Everything beyond that we can completely ignore. Now if this number is 5 or more, which it is, then the column to the left will move up by 1, so this 8 will become a 9, so 1708.9. Okay, right, 51,049,112 in figures. Okay, what we need to remember is that when we're writing numbers with digits, we're going to group them in blocks of 3. And I would recommend putting in a comma where you see the word million and when you see the word thousand. So when you see thousand, we use a comma, million, comma, trillion, comma. So every 3 digits are separated by a comma. So let's have a look. We can write 51, easy. Million, I'm replacing with a comma. 49,000, well this bit's a little bit tricky. I did say that for 1,000 we're going to write another comma, but we have to write 3 digits between one comma and the next. So I can't just plonk in 49, I'm going to write 049. So it's 51,049,000, and now 112. Nice and easy. The only thing that made this difficult is having to put in that 0 there. And now we can take the commas out if we don't like commas. We can leave gaps if we prefer, or we can just chuck the numbers side by side. That is our final answer. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. Jessie needs to cover a wooden floor with varnish, and the floor is in the shape of a rectangle and a quarter circle. Well, the area of this rectangle is going to be 5.3 multiplied by 2.6, and that comes to a total of 13.78 meters squared. Now this is a quarter circle. The formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared. So a quarter circle is pi r squared divided by 4. So I'm going to take 3.14 as pi. You can be more accurate if you want. So multiplied by, well, the radius is this length here, so 2.6. So 3.14 times 2.6 times by 2.6 divided by 4, and that comes to a total of 5.3066 square meters. So the total area is going to be these two numbers added together, and 13.78 plus 5.3066 comes to a total of 19.0866 square meters. Now we know that a tin of varnish covers 6 meters, so how many 6's go into 19? Well, it's going to be 3 point something, but since we can't buy point something of a tin, we're going to have to call that 4 tins. So that's going to be 4 tins that cost £5.41 each, and £5.41 comes to a total of £21.64. That is less than £25, so Is £25 enough to buy all the tins of varnish that Jessie needs? Well, the answer is simply yes, it is. Okay, let's now take a look at question number 9. So the first thing we need to do is write down the coordinates of point A. So all we need to do is remember to go across before we go up or down. So do horizontal then vertical. So we're going across to 5 and down to -3. So it's 5 minus 3. For part B, we need to plot B, which is -4, 6. So we're going horizontally to -4 and then vertically to 6. So this is point B. Part C says plot a point C so that ACB is a right angle. There's two options here. If I imagine going up this line here, then I can put C here. I have now created a right angle if I put C at this point 5, 6. But I can also create a right angle down here if I go down this line where X is -4 to where Y is -3. So I can also put C at -4, -3. So two options there. Question number 10. Kevin buys a second-hand car for £7,346 and he knows that the car is worth 27% less than when it was brand new. So we've got the brand new price and it's reduced by 27% to give this new value of 7,346. This is a tough question because it's not the right way round. It's not the way round that we would like it. So we need to think, well, what do we do if we reduce something by 27%? If you go shopping and you're buying a pair of trainers that are 27% off, although it's a bit of a random percentage amount, what that means is you pay 100 minus 27%, so you would be paying 73%. So all we need to do is, from the original price, work out what 73% of that is. So the brand new price multiplied by 0.73, which is our multiplier for 73%, must equal 7,346. So all we need to do here is work the calculation backwards. So if the brand new price multiplied by 0.73, this is the multiplier for the 27% reduction, equals 7,346, then 7,346 divided by 0.73 will take us back to the brand new price. And the brand new price is therefore £10,063. And I've forgotten what the original question was. Kevin thinks that the car cost more than £9,000 when brand new. Is he correct? Well, yes, he is correct because we can see that it must have been £10,063. Moving on to question number 11. Emma's the recruitment manager in a large company. She has this information about the number of workers in each of the 20 offices. She estimates the mean number of workers in an office as 30. So is she right? So we need to work out an estimate of the mean. So what we need to do first of all is work out the midpoint. So we know that 9 offices have between 1 and 20 workers. Well, all these 9 offices might just have 1 worker. They might all have 20. So what we're going to do is work out the midpoint. Now to work out the midpoint of 1 to 20, we just need to add 20 and 1 together, which is 21, and divide 21 by 2. So the midpoint here is 10.5. 21 plus 40 is 61. 61 divided by 2 is 30.5. So we can see that these groups are going up in 20s, 1, 21, 41, 61, 20, 40, 60, 80. So the midpoints are also going to go up in 20s. Just saves me doing more of those slightly irritating calculations. But it's okay, you don't have to spot that we're going up in 20s. You can carry on working at the midpoint of these if you want. So that is 70.5. So what we're assuming here is that in 9 of the offices, we're assuming that there are 10.5 workers, which kind of doesn't make sense. So what is the total number of workers in these 9 offices? Well, it's going to be 9 multiplied by 10.5. So we're multiplying these figures by the midpoints. So that's going to give us 94.5, 244, 101, and 70.5. So if we're working out the mean number, or it's an estimated mean, it's going to be the total number of workers divided by the number of offices. So we know there's 20 offices, which is what these figures here add up to, but we don't know what the total number of or the estimated total number of workers is. So if we just add all of these figures together, we get 510. So it's an estimated total of 510 workers divided by the 20 offices, and that comes to a total of 25.5. So the estimated mean is 25.5. Emma says it's 30. Is Emma correct? No, she is not. So 200 people apply to work at a new office. 49 of these people are employed. Work out 49 as a percentage of 200. Well, let's write it as a fraction. That's 49 out of 200. And to turn a fraction into a percentage, it's top divided by bottom multiplied by 100. And that comes to 24.5%. Okay, let's take a look at question number 12. Claire is a designer. She needs to put some lights around a circular bandstand in a park. This is the scale diagram of the plan view of the bandstand, and we can see it's got a diameter of 4.5 centimetres and the scale is 1 to 200. So what this means is in real life, this is 200 times bigger. So the diameter is not 4.5 centimetres, it's 4.5 times 200 centimetres, in other words 900 centimetres, and 900 centimetres is 9 metres. So what is the circumference? Well, the formula for the circumference of a circle is pi times by the diameter. So we'll use 3.14 for pi. 3.14 multiplied by 9 metres comes to a total of 28.26 metres. So it's 28.26 metres all the way around. Now a set of lights is 4.75 metres in length. So how many 4.75s go into 28.26? Well, the answer is 28.26 divided by 4.75, and that comes to 5.949. So we need to buy 5.949 sets of lights, except that's impossible, but we can buy 6 sets of lights. So that's going to be 6 lots of £27.99, and that comes to a grand total of £167.94. Here is a plan view of another building Claire designs. So this is the view from above. An apprentice draws the front elevation. So which one of these is the front elevation if this is the plan view? Now they're all quite close. There's only one that is correct, and it's all about this line here. We would not have that line with this front elevation because this is completely flat. This is completely flat. This line indicates this cannot be completely flat. This one here is completely flat. This one here is not flat. These two slopes meet at this point here, creating a ridge, and that's what that line is representing, the ridge there. So it is the third answer. That is the correct one.